Hello everybody and welcome to this video and this kind of like tournament guide through with me and RJTV. Going to do this together, going through the holes that we do have, give you some pointers and make you more prepared for the tournament that starts tomorrow. So it's the holiday tournament. You can practice all the old holes on tour 2 and the new holes you can only practice on tour number 7. So okay, let's start. RJ, first of all, welcome.
Thank you.
And we start off directly with hole number 1, par 4, one of the old holes that we do have in the regular tour settings. What's your thoughts about that?
Okay, well, recently I have been playing basically just pro, so I'm not going to be able to really answer for rookie because I don't remember. But what I like to do is I like to jump over where that little sand trap with the island is. I don't even like to deal with that. I like to land a little bit to the right with some side spin, not too much curl, or you could end up in the rough and just try to stop as close to the first rough by those first two sand traps, and then you potentially have a chip in.
Definitely, and if you want to be a little bit more aggressive, if we do have tailwind, then you actually can go directly to green. If you want to be a little bit of a trick shot wise guy, you can make a trick shot, try to go directly onto the green, or basically go with a lot of curl, side spin and some top spin to land it on the green. But that only applies if you have tailwind. So, okay then, hole number 2, old hole as well, par 3. So I will ask you directly again, how do you play this hole, RJ?
With this hole, I believe this is very straightforward for me. One thing, if you're not battling too big of a side wind, I like to go with a lot of backspin with a nice ball guide. So I don't, if you know, it's either a backbone for me or the sniper. Yeah, I just basically line it up with the hole, adjust for the wind, and take my shot. And if it doesn't go in the hole, I'll have a nice, easy putt.
Yes, and just a little bit more technical from my part, it's when you play from the first tee, you're playing with a long iron, and if you're playing from the second tee, you're playing with a wood club or a long iron. If you do have a lot of tailwind, you will be playing with a long iron from the second tee. And again, if you're playing with a wood club, a lot of backspin to apply that, to go directly onto the green, be close to the pin, or yeah, close to the hole in one as well. And with long iron, use 2 to 2.5 bars of backspin to bounce it just on the fairway before the green to let it roll in for a hole in one. So yeah. So we go to hole number 3, another old hole, par 5. Is it possible to get the albatross here? What do you think?
If you're a very good player, a much better player than myself, I believe it is definitely a possibility and something you should go for. Me personally, I'm thinking that a quarterback might be nice here, simply because of the skinny fairway, for accuracy reasons. And then I do okay with the sniper overpowering it, but you might want to go with a hammerhead, as you mentioned in the live stream, or a big dog, just to ensure that you have enough power to get it up onto the green and close to the hole, because if you go on the opposite side of the green, the putt might be a little bit too long, and you definitely want to avoid those sand traps.
Definitely the sand. Everybody hates the sand, especially me. I hate it so much. And when it comes to this hole again, it depends so much on what type of wind you got. If you do get tailwind, you can be close to the green, and I do suggest that you actually go for it, especially if you're playing with tailwind and playing in expert or in masters. There is some videos here on the channel that you actually can see me be on the fringe or very close to the green directly for my first shot. Otherwise, play it safe. That is the key. Play it onto the fairway and then go for the albatross. You will have a great chance for the albatross if you're accurate enough with your sniper. So we're gonna go to one of the new holes here, hole number 4, par 3, and I just smile here on the video because I love new holes, I love the difficulty. So I will send you the question directly, RJ. How do you play this hole?
Okay, now me personally, I've only encountered this hole like 2 or 3 times, so please correct me if I'm wrong, but what I like to do is aim as close to the rough in front of the sand trap as possible with a little bit of backspin on it, but I have noticed that where you bounce the ball for the first bounce is a lot lower than where the green is. The green is up higher. And I don't know if the green slopes down again in the back, but I've had luck taking that approach, basically bouncing it right in that little peninsula, if that's the word for it, and then making sure you don't put too much backspin on it to where you end up hitting the rough and going back in the sand, but are able to slowly roll towards the hole. I'd love to hear your take on this one.
Yeah, for me, I do have it noted down in the text guides that you actually can play that way. But I've noticed that, especially with the bounce, when you bounce over the bunker, you do have a high risk of getting kind of like a fringe glitch that you get your ball pushed over the green. And that happened to me a couple of times when I played a hole. So for me, if I'm going to take the safe route, I'm going to take the right or the left side using the fairway and the bank over there, using 3 to 4 bars of backspin combined with 1 to 2 bars of side spin to the right, because your ball will be pushed to the left, because especially if you play on the right side, your ball will be pushed to the left when it hits the fairway. And especially if you have wind from right to left, the ball will be even more pushed. That's why you're using side spin to the right to straighten the ball out from when it hits the fairway. I don't say that playing before the bunker is wrong, but a little bit more risky, but also a little bit more rewarding to be closer to the pin if you are accurate enough. But in the end, for me, when it comes to par 3s, depending on the wind, it's always nice to play on the side of obstacles when it comes to bunkers and rough, to not have them just before, like, in play. So because the end game basically here, or like the worst part, would be to end up in the bunker. That would be a tough one to make a birdie on.
Correct. Yeah, right. I'm going to definitely practice that shot. That's a great insight.
Yeah, it's you can, and that goes for each and every one. It's new for me as well, so I haven't been playing that more than like 5, 6, 7 times. So and I do have the video here on the channel, and it works well many of the time. So we're gonna go through to gonna go forward to hole number 5, the last of the old holes that we do have, and I would love to hear your take on it.
All right. Well, when I went to pro, I made a lot of mistakes on this hole. So for you new guys going to pro, remember that you are shooting high and it goes a little bit low down by that river. So if you try to hit it too close to the river, a lot of times I found I ended up in the river or the sand. So be mindful of that. But basically, I just like to put some curl on it and not over curl it, because I have ended up in the rough over there on the left. Your first bounce should be somewhere near the rough, but again, be careful. And then curl it to the right. I would probably, for this hole, take a little bit of top spin off, only because those trees are now in play. They're kind of scary to me to have a shot where those trees won't really be an issue. And in doing so, I'm still saying use top spin, but I'm just saying don't go full top spin like you might have in the past. And what do you think, Tommy? Do you think maybe the big dog or the hammerhead for this hole, because it would be a little bit longer if you don't use all that top spin trying to stay away from them trees?
If you're talking about first or second division rookie, or in the pro division, and think about the clubs that are generally used at those divisions, then I would say the big dog would be the main wood club to go with, because it gives you the most distance to the hole. Of course, the hammerhead would work well, but we need to have in mind here that this is not a hole where people will make an albatross over albatross. It will be a hole to stay away from the trees, because, as you said, they are in play, which is new for people that may not have been playing the new layout with this hole. I also have in the text guide, I do have the horizon as a choice. And the reason for the horizon is that you do have some distance with the horizon, but you also have a lot of topspin, because the topspin can be good to have, especially if you are far away from you. Maybe you go a little bit too short, and then you have the topspin there, if you may not be having the big dog unlocked yet. So I think it's all comes down, and we take expert or in masters, then it's the cataclysm, because you normally have that unlocked, and you also have a better ball guide when it comes to the cataclysm than the big dog. Or you have a, like, you can have an upgrade hammer, you can an upgrade sniper with a special ball. So you do have many different possibilities, but the importance in it is that you need to have a club with distance for your second shot, to summarize it all.
And also, if I can real quick, make sure that you go close to the flag, because if you barely make it onto that putting green, unless they changed it, you will not reach. You'll have to putt twice.
Yeah, exactly. You won't be able to reach. You're completely correct with that, so good to add that too. So, okay, hole number 6, par 4. One of the new holes as well. It's a short par 4, but it's a little bit trickier than it looks.
Definitely. Scrambling for my notes here because I actually took notes on this one. And let's see here. Actually, what I would do is try to shoot it as close to this top fringe, well, the rough up here as possible. If you want to go conservative, but try to stay away from the trees if you could hop over. Or there's this little island by the sand trap on the left. I think that's a little bit more dangerous shot, but it's also going to be extremely rewarding. I haven't had the pleasure of playing this hole too many times.
No, not me either. I played it a couple of times, and it will be a tough one because, again, the trees are in play. So if you go too short with your drive, if you go and maybe, okay, I will just put myself safely up there, then you won't be able to go over the trees. Then you need to kind of hook it around or slice it around the trees. And that is hard. That is too hard. So as for you that are watching the video, you can see 3 types of line. You see the black line, and that was what RJ was talking about in the beginning, going as close to the rough on top as possible. The white line is a line where I actually find myself, that means that I'm actually bouncing on the fairway over to the fairway on the left side, where you can see the bunker. So I'm using 3 to 4 bars of backspin combined with max curl with an extra mile, not with an apocalypse. So I would say half curl with an apocalypse, combined with as much side spin to left as possible. That gives me every time an open shot for the green, between the trees. So, but it's a tough hole, definitely a tough hole. Use a driver with a lot of distance. Hole 7, par 3. This one is a tricky one because this is kind of, it's tricking you to play it one way, but it's not the best way. But I want to hear your thoughts.
Okay, I have played this hole exactly one time. It's been very hard to get this one, and the one time I did play it, I know exactly what you're talking about. I was torn between going to the left and using it as a bank, much like those two shootout holes they have on Tour 6, where you have to bank it over to the hole. But instead, I decided to jump from the island in the sand there, or well, the island coming out of the sand, and I was able to get close, but I definitely didn't see an ace on this hole. I'm very interested to see how you would tackle this.
Yeah, I would stay away from the left side directly, even though I have it in the notes, but you need a lot of speed for your ball to be able to get up to the green. Because if you go on the left side and try to roll up to the pin, you do have, it is uphill for you, kind of a lot of uphill for you to get to the pin, which means that you will most likely have a little bit longer chip in, or you are going to have a long putt for it. So I suggest you go and bounce it over from the fairway on the right over to the green. Importance here is that you don't want to go left. If you do have wind from right to left, use 2 to 3 bars of side spin to the right and aim on the right side of the hole, because that will straighten the ball out when it hits the fairway, combined with using 6 bars of backspin on your club. But again, it's way more important to go on the right side of the green instead of falling down to the left and give yourself a really, really tough putt. And we will see people struggling with this hole. But so stay away from the left side if you can, and be accurate enough to hit the fairway on the right and bounce it over. That would be my suggestion for it. Hole number 8, par 4. one of the toughest par 4 I think we have in the game. But what's your thoughts?
Now, this particular hole, I have been playing very conservatively. And by saying conservatively, you see you could go to the left or you can go to the right, or you kind of got that little bulb in the middle.
Hmm.
And I aim for the little bulb in the middle because I usually faced some high winds to where the fairways just got a little too skinny for me. And then I jump from right where the bottom of the river is over to the fairway on the right hand side. And I had a sniper, so I'm kind of wondering if I had a little bit longer club, if I might be able to actually jump from there to the green, or if there's a better way to tackle this. So I definitely am going to be listening to your advice on this one.
Yeah, interesting you actually say that, because I've been playing this one a lot. I'm getting this one kind of all the time when I play Tour 7 for some reason. And you can play on the left side, you can play on the right side, or you can go for that short shot with your driver and put yourself for a long shot to the green. And yes, you can reach that green easily if you do have a club with distance. So if you don't have a Cataclysm or an upgraded Guardian, for an example, that gives you the 180 yards or at least 175, then I do suggest that you use the big dog in that situation. And also, if you do have a ball called the Titan, or called the Kingmaker, or a Snowman ball, or maybe a Berserker ball, depending on what type of wind we have, because you do want to have distance, and that will help you tremendously to making a birdie on this hole. Don't see this as an eagle opportunity, because that will make you to take unnecessary risk. Of course, if you do have tailwind, a lot of tailwind, and that applies for expert and for masters mostly, then you can go as far as possible to the left and ship it to the green from the rough or from the bunker. But in general, when you play this hole, I would go short, put yourself on the fairway, then go for a long shot with your wood club. That would be my suggestion for this one. Last but not least, we're going to have hole number 9, a tough par 5. Is this an eagle opportunity, or would you be happy with a birdie, RJ?
Well, I'm never happy with a birdie on a par 5, even though the way the holes have been made recently, I'm going to have to change my thinking on that. The way I tackled this hole when I got this is I like to aim my ball right before that odd-shaped rough right there in the middle of the fairway. I like to bounce it over that and try to get up into that that little, let's call it a camel hump, right above it. And by doing that, that sets me up for a nice shot to where I could take the left fork when we with a wood with a lot of spin and curl to the right. It's definitely going to take some precision, because you're going to want to make sure you can take those trees out of play for your third shot to get on the green, or possibly a chip in for the eagle.
Yeah, you did describe this really well, actually. First of all, as you also mentioned, the trees are in play, and you can't, if you're not having a lot of tailwind, you can't play it over the trees, the first trees on your left. So try not to think about that. If we're getting tailwind, sure, think about it, maybe try it out in the qualifier. But otherwise, it is bouncing on the fairway, bounce it over, put yourself up for a wood club, use a wood club with a lot of distance this time as well. You need curl, you need side spin to the right. If you're a bit short, you can actually go with a lot of topspin and with max overpower and kind of roll it over the rough onto the green, because the green works like this kind of a bowl-like, which means that if you go on the right side of the green, it will be falling back to you. Not falling back to you, but it will fall back to the pin and give yourself an easy putt from that position. And this is a hole where, again, sure, it's conservative to say this, but you should go for an eagle. Try to not put yourself in the mindset of this one, I need to make an albatross. We will see a lot of people making birdies on this one, because the drive is the one that will make it or break it for you on this hole 9. So, my friends, this was the walkthrough from me and RJTV. for all the holes in the upcoming tournament, the holiday tournament starting tomorrow, Monday 26th of February. And I'm looking forward to that. I'm going to play one account in every division and trying to give you some pointers, some advice, and just having fun on stream. And how does your tournament week look like, RJ?
Generally, whatever day the tournament falls on in terms of qualifying, opening, and weekend, if I'm lucky enough to make it, I like to stream at 6 o'clock p.m.
6 o'clock p.m. and that's Eastern Standard Time, if I'm correct.
New York time for those that aren't in the United States.
Okay, awesome. And for me, it's 2 p.m. Eastern. That is the main time there. Otherwise, it would be too late for me. But again, jump over to RJ's channel as well. Give him some love there. And for you that haven't subscribed here on this channel, please do. And we'll be happy to have you in here, give you some pointers and advice. So, my friends, I will see you on the streams this weekend. So, we both wave and said goodbye, I think. So, happy stroking, everybody.
Happy stroking.